I'm Ingrid Sullivan with the Smart Senior Seminars, and we're getting ready to get ourselves started for our presentation today. We have quite a few people that have registered, but we're going to go ahead and get started so that we can honor everyone's time. Let me just switch over to our presentation. Okay. And we want to go ahead and get started. So just keeping in mind, like we did once before on our presentations, Zoom tips, while we're doing our presentation today, we want to make sure that we keep ourselves muted. We're going to plan for time later on today that we can have a conversation, but for now, it'll make it easier for everyone to see what we're doing and talking about if we keep our microphones muted so it's not a distraction. The other thing that's going to be important, if you look at my slide right now, in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see the word speaker view or gallery view. And actually what we want to do here is we want to make sure and click on gallery view, which is going to put us into, then it'll switch over to speaker view, and that'll give us an opportunity to see just the speaker. Correctly, Debbie? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So if it says gallery view, you're in speaker view. You're doing the right thing. So
yeah, it's the opposite of what you see. It's the opposite of what you see. Okay. So we want to do that. And then here's some other tips. And, you know, a lot of you have been with us for several months now, so you are experienced Zoomers, but just to keep this in mind, we are going to have a drawing for a door prize today. So that's important for us. And you need to be present to win. So if you want to receive that door prize, you've got to hang around through the presentation. Debbie's going to do something. She's got a spin the wheel that she'll do to pick names. So it'll be really great. And it's all the people that are logging on today that we have. Also, as we go through the presentation and you plan to do your questions, in the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a little picture. And if you look at my slide here, you'll see a picture of what looks like what we call a speech bubble. It says chat. And this will be a place where you can actually type in your questions. So if you're worried that, oh, I might not remember that, you can type your questions in there. And when we get to the place that we are now entertaining questions from our audience, Debbie will read those to us from the chat, and then we can, our presenters can actually assist me in answering those questions. And we'll also make time just in case for the audience to speak for themselves. So hopefully that's going to work out great today for everyone. I'd like to take just a quick minute and introduce our team. I've been referring to Debbie several times today, and I know that several of you have received emails from her. Debbie is the operations manager for the Sullivan real estate team. And she also orchestrates all of our Smart Senior presentations, gets the Eventbrite put together for you so that the invitations go out with the link. So she's an important component of the Sullivan team. And as I talk about that, the Sullivan team is a group of professionals, real estate professionals that are myself, Ingrid Sullivan, John Sullivan, and Patrick Sullivan has just joined us, and he actually has two roles. He's a real estate agent, and he's also our client care manager. And we are the owners of the company that's called Senior Downsizing Experts, which is comprised of several of our vetted vendors. Dana Taylor is one that's with us today, and they work very closely with us in making moves for people that are planning a move very easy to do. So the Sullivan & Sullivan real estate team is the owner of Senior Downsizing Experts. And sometimes people get that confused that we just manage a move, but we actually take it from beginning to end. It's a complete solution from the real estate transaction all the way to the end to the move. So kind of looking at where have we been as we have been Zooming together the last few months. We started out with planning and your financial future. So we talked a little bit about that. That was at the very beginning, and we actually still had live seminars then. And then we moved to aging in the right place, whether it be in your own personal home or moving to a senior living community. And then we talked about how to prepare your house for sale, as is or for gain. That was a great presentation because we had guest panelists there talking about the different things that you might need to do if you're planning on a real estate sale, which we would love to help you with. And then we've got where we are today, which we say the big showstopper, the stuff. For a lot of us, whether we're living in our home currently and wanting to just kind of reorganize, or we're thinking about moving to something newer, or maybe even right sizing to something smaller, what we find is that our stuff can really be paralyzing, and it makes it really hard for us to do those things. My panelists are my experts today. I have Tish Creech with us, and she's with Southern Revival Estate Sales. We'll be talking to her in just a moment. And then I also have Dana Taylor with Dependable Packers. And Dana has her part in the presentation as well. So they'll both be talking to us. So let's get started on our presentation today. Dealing with your stuff. What is stuff? So as we look at the pictures that we have here on the screen for you, it's just samples. You know, it's memorabilia, things that you've collected over the years. And, you know, depending upon where you are age-wise, as we get older, we collect and save more and more stuff. Or it could be the latest gadgets in the kitchen. Some of you might be watchers of QVC. Some of those latest things that they have that you just got to have, and you get and use one time and you leave it sitting on the counter, or you leave it in the cabinet. Best Buys, those advertisements that we get one time only, 20% off, that we run after. Or how about the must-haves? Everybody else has one of these, I've got to have one too. That really starts to accumulate your stuff. You know, at this stage of life, which I think everybody that's here with us today is going to agree, less is more. It's stressful to have a lot of stuff to move around all the time. It's stressful to have to dust all that stuff or figure out what closet you can fit it in, or shelf, or under the bed. And what it says here on the slide, which is important for all of us to remember, is that it becomes paralyzing when there's a future move coming up for not only you, but also for your real estate agent, because we try to figure out, what are we going to do with all that stuff? How do we get the house ready to show so that an incoming buyer is interested in it and they can see beyond the stuff? So we're going to talk about, how do we deal with that? Well, as you can see here on this screen, sorting and organizing. You can't downsize a 40-year-old home in 48 hours. You want to start when you're feeling good, when you're healthy. A lot of us have had time over the last 7 or 8 months to do some of these things because we can't go anywhere. Don't wait until it's time to move. That's the time that you make bad decisions about things. You're doing it in a rush. Start in a low stakes room like your bathroom or your kitchen, where you're not getting caught up in all the memorabilia. Save those sentimental things for later, after you've gone through the other things that you know that you can release. You know, look at it as a fresh start. That's really important. I know that when we clean up our closets, or for the guys, when we clean out our garage, it feels so good to go in there because everything's organized and we have the things we want to use and not everything we don't need. And you know, a lot of people say to us as senior downsizing experts, how can I do this? I can't do it alone. I don't want to ask my kids. They don't have time. And what I will tell you is that we have been collecting resources that can actually help you with that. Come in and help you get organized. There are organizing services. Dana with Dependable Packers is someone that can help with that. Her girls are very skilled at that. And she's actually provided some of the pictures that we have here today to show how things can become organized from maybe a chaotic mess. Dana, do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, I love chaotic messes, and I turn them into great pictures like that.
Okay.
Or well organized.
That's great. That's great. So that gives us kind of an example, and Dana will talk more to us in just a little bit about her company. You know, looking here at rules for decluttering, we kind of talked about gathering up too many things, kind of looking at what we have on the screen for you right here. If you have multiples, look at all those spatulas. Oh my goodness. How many of those do we really need anymore? There may have been a time that you were using all of those all the time, baking, etc., but do you use them now? Go through those things and pick your favorites and release the ones you don't. How about all those hammers, guys? Oh my gosh, there's quite a few there. Guys and ladies, do we really need all of those tools? Looking at old clothing, you know, this is the time, like I said, we've been spending time at home now for several months. It's a good time for us to go and get rid of some of those things. I know some of those old t-shirts are so nice and soft. They feel so great. Maybe they're even pajamas for some, but we probably could stand to release a few. Checking your medication. This is a big one. I've shared this story and maybe in one of the seminars that we've had in the past, but my mother was great for that. She would save stuff forever. A lot of us fall prey to, we get a prescription and maybe we don't have to use all the prescription because we're feeling so much better. So we take that bottle and stick it in the medicine cabinet thinking, well, if I get this cold again, I'll have a couple of extra pills to get me started next time. It's really important that you watch those expiration dates and make sure that you don't endanger yourself. And if you're interested, contact me later after the seminar today, or maybe during the Q&A. I actually have a phone number that you can call if you do have some old medication that you want to release or get rid of. We never want to put it down the toilet. How about spices? I can tell you I'm a guilty party there. I didn't realize that spices had an expiration date. I thought they expired when they were empty. Well, they all have expiration dates on them. So it might be time, if you've been cooking a lot at home and maybe replenishing some of those or getting something a little different, to get rid of some of the old ones that you have. And then here is our last picture. Anybody have one of these for football games? Look at that special hot dog cooker when you're entertaining people. That's probably a QVC item. That might be something that you bought in the past, but you have to ask yourself that question. Would I buy that again? Did I get my money's worth out of it? Or was it an impulse buy? We want to remember our ABCs. A, absolutely must keep. I like to say not negotiable. B, bring only if it fits in the new place. We're going to talk about that as we move forward. And C, get it gone, clear it out, be done with it. Here's some rules for decluttering. Only make yes piles or no piles. Try to avoid the maybe piles. And what you can see here is you can get stuck with a taller maybe pile than with the yes or no pile. As a matter of fact, there is an author out there. Her name is Marie Kondo, and she talks about decluttering, and she talks about going through the things that you have and keeping only the things that bring you joy, like we're seeing here. She's got a whole section on clothing. That might be something for you to consider evaluating. You know, this slide that we're looking at here called staging room, this comes up a lot when we are working with people that are thinking about selling their home and moving to something smaller or maybe a different location. They're not exactly sure what they want to keep yet or what they want to let go of, but they have other rooms in their home. You know, I like to say this way. In my case, it might be my son's room. He doesn't live at home anymore. We've taken that room. It is our guest room right now, but we don't have guests all the time. But that might be a room that I would start to take things to that I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it yet or let it go. We like to call that a staging room. Oftentimes, when you're thinking of selling your home and you're kind of going through things but not sure yet, we even suggest that you do that in an empty room in your house where you bring all the things that you're not sure about, place them in that room, and then when the photographer comes to take pictures, he's not going to take a picture of that room with all the things in there. But I will tell you, when the time comes to make the final decision and you come into your staging room, I'm going to bet that a lot of the things that you've placed in there end up being leave behind things, because you've been without them now for a while. They're not sitting around, and it gives you a real good opportunity to see, do I really need that? Do I want to carry it with me to the next place? Things that may go with you, but you're not sure of. So you can see here, furniture, personal items, or maybe things that you're going to give to the family or the family wants, but you haven't made that decision yet. When you're dealing with your stuff and you have memories, I always say that it's a great idea to share your legacy gifts with your family now versus later. They're going to get so much more out of it if you have that opportunity as you're sharing those things. My mother was a toll painter. She loved making clocks. And it's probably been 4 or 5 years ago now. I have 3 siblings. We went to her house for her birthday, and she asked us to go through the house and pick out the things that she had painted that we wanted to have after she was gone, and put our names on the back of it so that she or somebody else didn't have to go through that and be picking things when maybe one person wanted it and the other was hoping to get it. So share those gifts with people now. Allow yourself time to reminisce over those things that you're going to share with people. It's important. They mean something to you. They want to know about it. My granddaughter wants to know about her great-great-grandmother and what their lives were like. So take the time to do that. You know, if we've had holidays come up, we just had one. Holidays are a great time to pull out a few things and share with the family. Use that time to share stories. You know, there's stories you may have shared with them when they were younger, but they'd love to hear them again. I can tell you your grandchildren love to hear stories over and over again, and you probably know that. The bottom one here is a big deal. I can share that I also have experienced this. There are things that we have in our home that we know our children, our best friends, are going to want. So we tuck them away, or we polish them, we keep them safe. And when the time comes to release them to those people, they don't want them. They're not interested in them. I had girlfriends that made lots and lots of different quilts for my son before he was born. I used several of those. We brought those with us to Texas, and I saved them up in the attic, making sure that they were going to be taken care of. We just recently had to pull everything out of our attic the last year or so, and that big box of quilts came down. Of course, I went right to him and said, look at all these quilts I've saved for you. Guess what he said? I don't want those. We don't have anywhere to store those. That was disheartening for me because I thought after all this time he would. But keep in mind, there are other places for you to share those treasures. So don't be offended. Our kids do things differently than we did. They're not interested really if they don't go in the dishwasher or in the microwave. Probably not going to be a keeper for a lot. Not all, but for a lot. Reduce your collections. As you can see here, this woman loves Winnie the Pooh, and she has Winnie the Pooh galore. She has plates on the wall. She's got special spoons that she's collected on trips that she's taken, teacups for every place that she's gone that she could enjoy when she comes home from a vacation. But after a certain amount of time, that becomes overwhelming. And unfortunately, unless it's something that's very unique, they don't sell like you hope they will later. And many people don't want to take them. We just received a big box of Snoopies that we thought would be great items from one of our clients because her son did not want the Snoopies. We're still trying to help sell them, and they're not gone yet. So keep only the most precious items, just a few of them. You know, when it comes to pictures, a lot of us have shoe boxes full of pictures and books of pictures. We have a lot of things that we've tucked away on the upper shelf of a closet. Think about that for a minute. How often are you looking at those pictures? Or do they even have the same color? A lot of them get really dark or yellow and you can't even tell who those people are anymore. Now's a good time to take pictures of those things and digitize them into possibly a digital frame where you can actually see those pictures over and over again. It's a nice idea to take these digital frames like we have here in the bottom left-hand corner of this slide and maybe put one in your kitchen, put one in your living room, maybe another one in your bedroom, and have different pictures of different trips and family events going on all of those all the time. It brings a lot of happiness to you and you don't have to worry about getting up in a shelf and pulling out a box of pictures. Or here's an example. There's several different places right now. Legacy Box is one of them where you can send your old videos and DVDs, etc., and they'll digitize things for you. Or in this case, as you can see here, they'll make it into a coffee table book for you, which is something that you're going to look at more often. Hoping as we go through here, you're getting some good ideas. Here's another really important thing to keep in mind: protecting your valuables. Take inventory of what you own. Take pictures of what you own for insurance purposes. I had a very sad thing happen recently with a ring, wedding ring of my mother's. All of my siblings and I were really, trying to talk about who was going to get that once mom was gone. And when we took it to a jeweler to have it appraised, what we found out is one of the largest diamonds in her wedding ring was not a diamond at all. It was a zirconium, cubic zirconia. But nobody knew. They had taken that in to get the prongs adjusted, and whoever did that for them removed that big diamond and stuck something else in there. So take pictures for insurance purposes so you know what you have in the event that you lose it and you have to replace it. Consider taking some of those things off-site and putting it in a safety deposit box if you're not using it all the time. If it's jewelry, those things that you love to wear, make those available, but maybe don't keep everything there. Especially if you're going to have a real estate sale and you still have things on the property, you want to make sure that they're tucked away safely. Here's one last thing that we've come across a lot in our real estate practice is that people will keep medications and firearms on site. You want to make sure that when you are involved in a real estate transaction, you have your house on the market, that you have removed those things so that as people are coming through to look at your home, people look in every closet. They look in the, not necessarily in the drawers, but the medicine cabinets. They look to see how much room is there. You don't want to have any of your medication left behind. Here's something else, shredding. Boy, I'll tell you, we've seen a lot of this lately. And again, as collectors, we keep old checkbooks, old deposit slips. We've got our old Social Security cards, or how about your Medicare card, which had your Social Security number on there, but there's new ones that come out now. You want to remove those things that have any identity about you, because right now I'm hearing that that type of crime is way, way up. Even medical bills that have your Social Security number on there. There's no need to save those things. You can remove all those old things, get a shredder or get a service. We're going to be doing that for our team. We're actually going to be hiring the Shred It mobile service to come and shred old files, tax returns and things like that. Check with the YMCA. Check with the city. They have free shredding days. You can take those things there and get rid of them safely. Same thing goes for an old computer. If you have one hanging around that you haven't used for a long time, just going out there and hitting delete to get rid of your old files really does not delete them. You want to make sure that you have got your hard drive wiped clean so that when somebody goes to use that, there's nothing there that will indicate any of your files. And the last thing that we have here is a digital inventory. A digital inventory is something that you can actually find in one of our books, The Ultimate Guide to Ultimate Guide to Downsizing. We can email one to you if you'd like to have that. Just let us know. But it's a place where you're going to list all the important things. Passwords. Here's a question for you all to be thinking about. If something were to happen to you tomorrow and you're still on email, which many of you are because you're here today, would your children know your password to get into your email account? Probably not for many. How many of you are on Facebook? If something were to happen to you tomorrow, if you were to die tomorrow, would your children be able to remove your account from Facebook because they know your password? And other things that we have, passwords to other things and combinations. Having a digital inventory set aside in your safety deposit box that you can share with your loved ones is a great thing to do for them if something happens to you. Here's a little bit more information about that. Documents that include your logins and passwords. If you're incapacitated or pass away, like I just mentioned, it's nice for the executor or power of attorney for you to have a copy of that so that they'll be able to access those things that they need access to after you're gone. That includes financial accounts, utilities, social media, all of those things that you can easily store on a little drive or on a digital inventory. So let's move on to another topic now that we've gotten all of the pictures and the stuff out the side. Let's talk about downsizing dots. This is an idea that we came up with when we first looked at senior downsizing experts. We like to help people get organized for an event. In our case, it would be for a real estate event. But what we found is that it's really hard once you start going through your things to decide, what am I going to do with these things? You can easily get a box of colored dots from the office supply store and use those dots so that you can disseminate or discern what are the different things I want to do here. And this is our idea. If you have a box that has a red dot, the red dots are the red dot is what you're going to put on those things that you're going to leave behind. These are things I want to sell. These are things I'm going to put in my estate sale. When your estate liquidator comes to talk to you about what you're going to be doing with your things, what they're selling and what they're not, you can say, you see everything that's got a red dot on it? Those are the things that I'm going to be releasing. You're selling those. The things that you're going to move with you to your new place, you're going to put a green dot on. When your mover comes to pack your things, it's going to be easy for you to say, if it's got a green dot on it, I'm taking that with me. Now, you're not going to dot everything, obviously, but if there's a cabinet, for example, in the kitchen that has all the dishes and the glasses that you're going to take with you, you put a dot on that cabinet and say, everything that's in there goes with me. Same thing for the red. The yellow dot might be things you're going to give to your family, and you could actually write their names right on top of that dot because those things are set aside for the family. And the blue dot could be for things that you're going to donate to your favorite charity or to your church. Let me tell you the secret behind the dots. It's not so much the color of the dots as it is the action that goes with it. Putting a dot on something is you making the decision of what's going to happen, and it can actually act as a stress buster for you. Moving on to storage. Some people are not ready to get rid of everything yet because they're moving to a smaller home, maybe moving to an apartment. So what they've done is they've gotten a storage pod like you can see here in this particular slide, that they're packing things into and storing for another time. They're really handy if you're moving to another part of the city because you can pack them up. They'll actually bring the pod right to you. You can pack it up, or you can have Dana and her team come and pack it up for you. And when you're ready to receive it at your new home, they'll actually bring it to you and leave it there for you as long as you need it, so that you can unpack those things. Some retirement communities now have storage in the communities that you can rent right inside, which is really nice for saving things like Christmas trees and luggage and things like that. What's important though is you need to consider the cost of the storage. If it's an off-site storage, which a lot of people think initially, oh, I'm just going to go to the storage over there, ABC storage, and I'm going to rent one. Think of it this way. You're going to be paying a storage fee every month. And how often are you going to go and visit those things that are in that storage? Is it really worth it? Sometimes getting the storage is going to be avoiding the delays that mean I need to go through my stuff. But everybody's got a different way of doing that. And this might be a good way for a temporary solution. Packing and moving. Well, look at what we have here. So we've talked so much about getting our stuff together and getting it ready to take to a new location. This reminds me of the Clampetts. And this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to cheapen that event. Jam as much as you can into the back of your car. Your brother's got a truck, somebody else you know has a van, because those things are probably not going to get there safely. It's easier for you to hire a professional mover to help. And Dana, this would be a time that I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about what you do and how you work these two things together as we move forward.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dana Taylor with Dependable Packers and Movers. We customize a package for you which fits your needs for packing and moving. We can do most anything. We do very small jobs to big jobs. We pack everything up for you. Just get it all ready for you.
So Dana, I've got some slides here for you that we've got kind of as an example of why we would use a professional mover. And as you can see here, the differences. Do you want to go over just a few of those for us, Dana?
Most definitely. Well, most important, we're bonded and insured, and most of our business is repeat and referral, which we have a great reputation out there. We all use the proper equipment, obviously, because if you just hire your friends, they're not going to do as good of a job as we would.
Okay. So, so what we're seeing here on this slide, just kind of as a comparison, when you're hiring a mover, they have a truck that's going to fit your things, or the trucks that are going to fit your things. They've got you on a schedule, so they're going to get you there based on the schedule that they've planned ahead for you. When you're working with your friends or your family, you're really on their schedule, not so much your schedule. So there may be a lot of waiting that goes along with that.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And also, if you hire us, we come in and we're on a schedule. We get it done in 1 to 2 days max, where your friends will drag it out and take forever and break half your stuff. So it's definitely advised to hire the professionals to do a good job for you.
I think, Dana, one of the things that I've learned about you and your company is, especially when you're moving, I'm going to say a woman, you have learned or shown them the expertise that you have in packing boxes for them that they can handle by themselves in the event that they don't unpack them right away. Talk about that.
Yes, ma'am. That's so important for my clients that can't lift due to age or back issues or anything like that. We have smaller boxes that we can pack things for. We also have an Open Me First box, that says Open Me First. That way it's all their stuff that they're going to need right away. And of course they can handle the small boxes until we can get there.
Okay. Okay. That's great. That's great. So here's an example of what Dana was talking about and some of the things that they do for their company, which has really been nice. And we found that a lot of our clients have been taking advantage of that. More and more of us want the easy button. And the easy button means pack me, unpack me, and get me where I need to go. Dana, have you found that you have more clients that are doing that with you now?
Absolutely. There's some cases where like, oh no, I can pack. But when we arrive to pack and when they see how smooth it went and how fast and efficient we are, they're like, you know what? If you still have that date open, I want to be unpacked because we just get in and get out and get it done in a professional way. And it's less stress on all of our clients. It's a wonderful treat to hire professionals.
Well, I think moving is stressful enough, and just being able to, having someone move you and drop off all the boxes and say, here you are, welcome home, is not as nice as it is if things are unpacked. So when you're unpacking, how does that work? What are you unpacking, or how are you organizing those things?
So with unpacking, it's basically whatever the client's needs are. I mean, some clients just say, I want you to unpack everything. And if a packer packs the kitchen, we're going to unpack that. That same person's going to unpack the kitchen because they know how you had things organized and where you had things. So they'll put it back like you had it. And but we also have some clients that want very specific things unpacked in certain spots. They just put sticky notes on the cabinets and the drawers where they want things, which is totally fine. We can do that as well. So there's just definitely packages that we can put together for our clients to create what's best for them.
Oh, that's nice to know. I didn't know that you had packages. So I've heard you say that if someone's moving from one house to the next, you're hanging curtains and putting the washer and dryer in place. And is that right?
Well, the movers do the assembling and disassembling of the washers and dryers and refrigerators, but we do hang curtains and pictures and kind of decorate a little bit for them. Sometimes they know where they want things, but there are other times, they want to live in the house for a week or two, and then we come back and hang pictures and curtains after we get it all unpacked and organized.
I see. So, so do you just do the packing and then they have to find their own mover, or can you help them with that?
Oh, absolutely. I work with several different moving companies and we work hand in hand. So we'll pack one day, move the next, and unpack the next day. So in 3 days, you're completely packed, moved, and unpacked and ready to be living again.
Wow, that's nice. That's really nice. So let's just kind of go over these questions that we have here, Dana, and if you'll just go through those briefly and talk to our audience. And we're speaking, packing in general, but add a little bit to this with respect to what you can do. And I guess the first thing I wanted to ask you is, I mean, is there just one area that you work in, or what's the breadth of your services as far as location?
So we work all over the DFW Metroplex. We even have clients that are repeat customers and just insist that we go to Houston and things like that. So we do go a little bit out of the Metroplex as well on occasions for clients. Our packing services include, we can make you a package where if you're on a budget, we can work with that budget. Some people say, nope, I want you to come in, I want you to pack it all, move it, unpack it, do everything. It doesn't matter the cost. Some people say, I really need help with the kitchen and help with the china cabinet and the lamps and the artwork. So we talk about that before I arrive to do the packing for a packing services for you.
Okay. Well,
yes. And, I don't know if I said this before or not, but we are all female packers, which is a fabulous group of ladies that come in and really care about your things and take good care of your things packing it. We leave the men to do all the moving part of it.
well, of course.
Yes,
of course.
definitely.
To to be the movers. I know that I can say for me, from my experience, Dana's done a couple of different things with respect to a distance move. I've had 2 different clients that lived here in Texas that were moving to Oklahoma to a beautiful retirement community, and she came and packed them up here. And then the movers took them to Oklahoma, and then Dana and her girls followed the movers and unpacked them in the new place, which was really, really nice to get that done and not have to worry about working across state lines with different people. And Dana, if you had somebody that was moving, let's say moving to Florida because they want to be closer to their children and they needed to be packed, could you help them orchestrate a mover to move across the country?
Yes, definitely. So we could either hire a local mover to that moves out of state, or we could get pods and have professional movers load the pods and transport it there to Florida for you, or whatever state that you're moving to. So there's definitely different things services that we can provide and help you with. If we can't provide them, we'll help you with them.
Yeah, I like that one stop. That's great.
Yes.
That's actually the goal of senior downsizing experts, is to be a complete solution as we're working with all of the different service providers that we've been sharing with you, including our sponsors. So this just kind of gives you an idea what Dana's talking about as far as packing. Like she had mentioned before, she may have one of her girls pack up the kitchen for you, and when you get to the new place, if you're taking advantage of her unpacking services, that same person is going to be the one that's going to unpack the kitchen and try to make things as close as possible to the way you had it in your other home, so that, you know, there's not too much adjustment with, well, it used to be over here and now it's over there. This gives you an idea of how they're doing their boxes and how everything is labeled nicely. So Dana, if people want to pack up some of their things and they want you to pack up the other things, is there anything special about that or advice that you give them when they're getting ready to kind of share the load with you?
Yes. You know, if the client wants to do some packing before I get there, I always recommend that they do easy things, closets, you know, holiday closets and their guest rooms and things like that. I always ask that they leave the china and the dishes and all the breakable things to the professionals, because we have certain ways that we like to wrap things and just take good care of them. And I'm always kind of nervous sometimes when clients have boxes already packed and they're bulging and overflowing and you know, things like that. So many times I show up to do our packing part and I'm having to repack boxes because just for the safety of the things that they packed. So
Could people use their own boxes, or do they have to get boxes from you?
So they can do either. They can get their own boxes, but I do recommend that they're good sturdy boxes. I know some single wall boxes are just not sturdy enough. And I have a lot of clients that they say, oh yes, I have boxes, and we arrive and they've got all these little bitty tiny Amazon boxes. I say no to that. Please don't use the little bitty Amazon boxes. But yes, we can provide them for you, or we can use yours as long as they're good, sturdy, quality boxes.
That's good to know. That's great.
Yeah.
So here's another thing that's been really important, especially for our clients that are moving from their home to, let's say they're moving to an active adult apartment or to senior living. Dana's been very, very proactive in getting to know the retirement communities that are out there, as well as collecting the floor plans. So, you know, the hardest thing when you're trying to right size and get into something smaller, but still feel good about it, the hardest thing to do is pick what can I take and what can I not take. And oftentimes we share, when we do a consultation, we have her go and do a walkthrough with you. And because she's has the ability to see how that floor plan is going to work for you, she can help you pick out the right things. Dana, expand on that for us, would you?
Yes, it's wonderful to have a floor plan of where the clients are moving to. It just helps me have an understanding of what they can take and what they can't take. Because if not, you move into a new place, you have way too much furniture, it's very crowded, it's very overwhelming. So I can help you with placement of the furniture. That way you enjoy your new place when you move in.
Okay. Okay. That sounds great. That's perfect. Okay. Well, Dana, thank you for your help on that. So we've talked about our stuff. We've talked about ways that we can mark our stuff. We just talked about how to get it from one place to another. And now we come to the next piece of this, which can be paralyzing for a lot of people. We're now going to be talking about decision-making when it comes to how do I get rid of the things I'm not taking with me. And looking at this screen, I really miss that we're not all that we're not doing this personally, because this is really a fun exercise. But as we look at this slide, every one of us at one time or another in our lives have been to a garage sale. I think everybody here would agree. We've all been to a garage sale. Several of us, if not all of us, have done a garage sale. And a garage sale can be a lot of work. Right now, I like to say this, a garage sale can be a whipping, especially in Texas in this heat. Or when we think it's going to be a beautiful day, we've got everything out there on the driveway, it's priced perfectly, the neighbors have contributed, we're doing something together, get it all out there, and it's pouring rain happens. We get pouring rain, and now we've got to haul everything back into the garage, and we've lost a day. Garage sales can be really tough on us. And as we look at the example that we have here and get ready to move into state sales, look at the graphic on the left, garage sale. They can be time consuming, figuring out what's the right price, how do I organize things so that people will buy them. We can't just stick signs on the telephone poles anymore. We have to go out and get a permit. The ads are expensive if we want to put ads somewhere. We get people coming in and actually insulting us. We've already reduced the price of the item that we want to sell. We think it's a good deal, and somebody offers us less, and they think we should throw in something else as well. And overall, it can be really stressful. So unless you are just a garage sale lover, I would tell you to consider the benefit of having an estate sale. You've got a professional there that's going to save you time and energy. They know all the different places online that you need to advertise your things, which is going to bring you a big draw when the time comes for the sale to be open. Because they know how to price things and they have experience with what sells and what doesn't, that's going to increase your revenue. And the best thing ever is it's going to reduce your stress. So just kind of as a primer to this, estate sale expectations. You know, when you do have a consultation with a real estate agent, they can help you prepare for an upcoming sale. Typically, the way that I do it, or my team does that, if we go in and do a consultation with someone, we're just kind of talking about the overall plan. We're talking about where are you going to move? We're talking about just briefly ideas on what you might take with you based on where you're going, because we're familiar with a lot of the retirement communities and new build communities. We're talking about repairs that you need to make in your house. We can kind of give you an idea as we walk through, because just about every sale that we do entails some type of an estate sale. So we can give you an idea if you're going to have enough to have a sale so that you can have somebody come over and have a look. That's just how we help you in general. You certainly are willing to do or able to do that yourself, but we're very skilled at helping you with that and getting the right person in front of you. And when you're choosing an estate sale company, it's really important that you look for these things. I would say look for somebody that does estate sales as a business, not as a hobby. Those are the people that are going to be able to get you the best price because they do it every day, all day. You want to make sure that they're bonded and insured, that there's a guarantee for the sale, there's accountability for the sale. You want to know when you're going to get paid and how you're going to be paid. You want to ask for reviews. You want to ask if you can attend a sale that they may have had somewhere else, so that they can kind of, or that they have currently, so that you can see how do they set up things? What do their sales run like? At this point, what I'd like to do, oops, I'm sorry, is I'd like to go ahead and bring in Tish Creech with Southern Revival Estate Sales. Tish, are you with us?
Hello, I'm here.
Great. Can you introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm Tish Creech with Southern Revival Estate Sales. We are out of Waxahachie, Texas. We have been in business for about 6.5 years, and we have a wonderful staff. We have about a 15 employee staff. We do approximately anywhere from 4 to 5 sales a month. We go all over the DFW area. We have a very good reputation. We have a lot of repeat customers, lots of vendors that come to us often. We have people kind of all over the state of Texas that come to us because we've been doing it for quite a while. So we do have a huge following. What else? We run our sales Wednesdays through Saturdays. We do 25% off, 50% off, and 75% off days to be able to kind of get rid of everything in the house on the 75% off day. It kind of depends on the size of the sale. We can go into a Sunday, or if we've had a bad weather day, or, you know, something's happening where we realize we need another week or another weekend or another day, we can do that. We're fixing to have a sale here. We're going to do a 2-weekend sale because there's just so much. So we kind of gauge it case by case.
Okay.
Go ahead. Do you have any?
So talk to us about this. You know, a lot of times when we have a conversation with someone about an estate sale, oftentimes the financial consideration comes up. Oh my gosh, how much do they charge? What does the sale look like? How am I going to get my money? Talk about this slide to our audience, Tish.
Okay, so the way we do it is we charge 40%. We get 40% commission, you get 60%. It's kind of a case-by-case situation because when we look at different sales, it depends on how much labor. We do charge a price for labor. If we have to go into a house where it hasn't been touched and we have to go through closets and drawers and that type of thing, if there's a lot of labor entailed, but everything comes out of your commission though. You never owe us anything up front. Sometimes there's certain companies that want you to pay kind of a pre-commission. We never do anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I can come look at a sale and pretty much tell you, hey, this is what I would do. We need to decide what's best for you, what your needs are, if it's going to be viable and profitable for you, because we want to make sure it's a profitable sale for you and for us. But of course, we don't want to, if I see that we come in and we're going to have to do quite a bit of labor and there's not much to sell, then I say, hey, let's give some other options. And we have other options that we can do. After the sale, it's totally up to you how you want to handle it. We can pack up everything and we have a company that'll come in and we donate. There are companies that we can come in and do a buyout. Or if that's something you want to take care of, that's totally up to you. Both ends, as much as you want to get ready for the sale up front is up to you, and as much as you want to do after is up to you. We have a wonderful crew that'll come in and do a house very quickly, and they're a wonderful staff. So it's just kind of, each case is just kind of different. It just kind of depends on what we need to do.
Okay. So, I've heard of some estate sale companies that are out there that have a guarantee, and they want the client to guarantee a certain amount's going to come out of the sale. I think I heard you say we don't ask for that. We're not expecting you to pay us anything. We want to make sure that it works out so that it's fair for all parties.
Yes, we don't charge anything up front, but we've done this, or I've done this long enough that I can tell you, we kind of know what will sell, what things won't sell, like dishes and china and crystal is a hard sell. Certain like formal dining room sets are a hard sell because people just don't entertain anymore. So there's certain things that when I come take a look, what we do is make an appointment. I come take a look at your house and we'll kind of assess what's there. And then we can create a plan, whether it is, you know, if you just have a small amount and don't have enough for a sale, we can put those things in another sale. We can do it online. We also have a marketplace. We can do pieces online if it's just a small amount. Or if you do have enough for a big sale, then we can talk about the different options for that.
Okay, so let's look at the slide that we have here. I've got some slides that are going to actually lead into some of the things that you're talking about. Is there a minimum amount for a sale?
We like to, our average sales are anywhere from 8,000 above. We say minimum of 5, but you know, we do have cases here and there that they are less. And that's why it's good for me to look and see, because that way I can gauge, you know, like I said, it needs to be profitable for everyone. And so I say 5,000 is where it's kind of our minimum, but we can also look at it case by case.
Okay. So we have, you know, so what she's saying is she'd like to see at least 5,000 gross for a sale, correct?
Yes.
And a lot of people, when they hear that, if they're not familiar with estate sales or haven't been involved in one for a while, for a lot of people, they say, oh my gosh, I don't have $5,000 worth here. But one of the things that I've noticed, and I think you and I have talked about, is that you can go into a garage that's full of tools, and a lot of times that garage might bring a couple $1,000s, right?
You never know. And that's what we tell people before you start throwing things away. Just give it a minute and let us look, because there's a lot of things that we may consider are not worth anything, and they're the things people want. So, you know, the market's different and changes all the time. So before you decide to do a sale, just let us come take a peek before, because I had a client that was throwing away, you know, letters from the 1800s and, you know, wonderful things from World War I, because they thought nobody'd want them, but people do. So it is the, you know, the thing where somebody's trash is somebody else's treasure. That is such a real situation for a lot of people. So, you know, even though you may not think it's worth anything, then somebody else may think it's worth a lot. You never know. So just kind of, I don't want to say hold on to everything, but just before you make a decision to get rid of a lot, just let us look and see what you got first, and then we can kind of decide what's there.
Okay. So we're going to take a look here at a couple of slides that's just going to kind of give us an idea. You know, this says, what do people shop for in an estate sale? And like Tish said earlier, and I want to reiterate that, an estate sale is made up of some good stuff. Tish and I are working together on something right now that's got old magazines, dishes. Yes, it does have furniture, antiques. It's got a lot of stuff, because what we have to keep in mind is that she is going to go with her team, or your estate liquidator that you choose. They're going to go out. They're going to take pictures of everything. They're going to advertise it online. That's what's going to be your draw. That's people coming to look because they've seen those things there that are interesting to them, or maybe to add to their collection. Here's some examples that we have here, and I think that Tish can elaborate on some of these things that we've got. I've got some ideas as well. Tell us a little bit about this slide, Tish.
So a lot of things that will sell: tools, old toys that were like,
we lost you.
highly collectible. Oh, did I go away? Hello?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
All right. So old toys or collectible tools, you can make a ton of money off tools or yard equipment or anything like that. Pyrex type things, old, you know, anything from the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s are highly sought after right now. We call it mid-century. Anything that's mid-century jewelry, especially old costume jewelry, or really fine jewelry. We have vendors that do both. Sterling silver, we have vendors that look for sterling silver. The cleaning supplies, we have a lot of customers, they have cleaning businesses, and so they can come in and get the cleaning supplies at half off or less. Any type of clothing, any type of dishware that's really unique, Baccarat, Waterford, any of those type of things are highly collectible that people still will pay a lot for. So in the change, there are changes. I mean, you know, things are hot for a while and then they go off, and then they're hot and then they go off. But, you know, we kind of watch the market. We know what the value is. It depends on what area you're in also. You know, certain areas sell better certain things than other areas. So we kind of take those things into consideration when we do price everything. And if there's something that we don't know, we get a lot of art. You know, we get a lot of high-end jewelry. We'll have certain pieces that we don't know. We research it, or we have people we can go to if it's higher-end pieces that we haven't seen before. We always have a referral process that we can go to see, to get the true value of it.
Sure. So what we're seeing here on this screen, on this slide that we have here, a couple of other things to keep in mind. You can see that we have some wine bottles here, or liquor bottles. I've seen, we had a estate sale a few years back where our client had several liquor bottles, and when I walked into the sunroom, the estate liquidator that was working with us at the time had them all laid out all over the room, and I thought, oh my gosh, what is all this about? People buy bottles like this. As a matter of fact, my husband and I were shopping in Bishop Arts. They had a art weekend, and we found a bottle. You know how you can buy cupcake wine in the grocery store now? We found a bottle that had been cut off right above the label where it said cupcake. Now that bottle of wine, just for your information, is about $6 or $7 in the grocery store. They had taken and sliced off the neck of that bottle, filled it with citronella. The label was still on it, and they were selling it as a candle for $22. So that kind of shows you what Tish was talking about as far as what do you throw away and what don't you throw away. On the ties, my husband and I have a real close friend that used to be a manager of a country club. He had very, very expensive ties, really beautiful ties, and he was doing a garage sale. Nobody was picking them up. So he gave them to me and said, take them to your estate liquidator and see if you can sell them in the estate sale. And I guess our guy had them for about a week and a half preparing for a sale, and our friend called us back and said, hey, bring those ties back to me. I have somebody that I go to church with, and she's going to take all my old ties and make a quilt out of them. So keeping in mind, even that, purses are made out of old ties. Pinterest has really given people a lot of ideas on things that you can do with those things. So like Tish was saying, and this is important, and the reason why you work with somebody that does this for a living, you know, you want to check out those people. You want to know how many years they've been in business, how experienced they are. It's one thing to have an estate sale. It's another thing to have it turn into whatever goes, just get rid of it, unload it. You want those things to be appreciated. Keeping in mind that the things that you love, that you may, for example, you may have bought a Samsung stainless steel refrigerator for $2,700 3 years ago, and you're wanting to sell it now on your estate sale. And I think that Tish would concur on this. More than likely, that's probably not going to go anywhere near, maybe 500. What do you think, Tish?
Yeah, maybe 5 to 8 if you're lucky. Yes.
Yeah. Those things just do not sell like that. Remember, the buyer's the one that determines what the value is to them. Also, like Tish said, you want somebody that can actually see the value in something. And if she doesn't know what the value, for example, in that gem might be, you want to know that that person has resources that they can take those jewels to, those rings, like I mentioned about my mother's ring, a place to take those so that they can be evaluated, and it's going to help them sell those better for you. Anything you want to add to that, Tish?
There's just a lot of treasures that are out there that people don't realize they have. And like I said, if there's something, we've done it long enough now that something that catches your eye, and if we find something that is worth, say we went to a house one day and we were looking at a painting, they had it in a closet, it'd been there for 20 something years, and we started researching, well, it was worth $25,000.
Wow.
So we called them and said, hey, there's this painting, it's worth $25,000, do you want it? And they wanted to put it in the sale, so we went ahead and put it in the sale. So, but if there is something like that where it pops up and it's something that we're like, okay, I think that you need to excuse me, I think you need to take a second look at this, and if you want to we'll let you know before we put it in the sale. But you just never know. I mean, you never know what a grandparent left. We've had art that was sold during the war, and those artists, you know, nobody knew them, and now they're famous, and their paintings are worth, and their parents got it on a corner somewhere, you know. So it just, that's why we tell people, just don't throw anything away, because you never know what's out there. And that's what's so fun about it to us. It's like a treasure hunt. And so we find all kinds of really cool stuff all the time. And that's why we love it so much. It's just, and bringing those pieces to new people and new eyes. And you know, it's just a great place to kind of rehome things. And that's what we love about it too. And to be able to help people move to the next place in their life, their next, transition to where they need to go. So it's kind of a double good thing for us.
That's great. That's really great. As real estate agents, when we get ready to put a home on the market, we stage it. We decorate it. So if it's a vacant home, we decorate it so it looks good for pictures, because we want to make sure that people are coming through and they're looking at more than just 4 empty walls. When it's a home that is someone's living in, we have a professional stager that we hire to come in and stage the house before pictures. And the same thing happens when you are having an estate sale. You want somebody that has an eye for where things should go and how that, so that they market better. Someone that can move things around and kind of keep the interest level going. Put the things that people are going to impulse buy. If you come to an estate sale with $20 and you've spent 15, rarely do you want to take that extra 5 and stick it in your pocket. You want to spend it on something else to use up all your cash. So, put the impulse buy things right by the cash register so that they may take some of those things with them. A lot of estate sales are very well monitored because there's security there. They make sure that nobody goes in and out except for one door, and it's right by the cash register, which is important to you, and keeps an eye on what people are picking up. Some estate sales don't allow children in the sale because there's too many things that are breakable. Just as I had mentioned, to reiterate on that, it's important that you get things ready. Tish and her team take pictures of everything before they put it online so that her followers can see what she's going to have at her sale. Most estate liquidators that do this as a business know that merchandising is going to be really, really important because it brings a big draw. We had an experience with one of our estate liquidators that had Pyrex. Someone had been a collector of Pyrex and had lots and lots and lots of Pyrex. There were people that came from Kansas to buy that Pyrex because of the way that it was pictured and marketed prior to the sale. So this just kind of gives you an idea of what a sale might look like. These pictures were shared with us from another estate liquidator. I know that Tish has her way of setting up her sales. Maybe some of this is similar. But what you can see here is it's important that things are put together well so that as people are shopping, it's kind of like your house is set up like a Walmart. As people are shopping, they're looking for things together that go together well, or the colors are nice, that kind of thing. And here's one thing that comes up for us all the time. People will say, well, I don't really want to move out until everything is sold. I want to stay in the house during the estate sale. And what's really important for you to know is that when people are coming in and looking, let me back up, setting up your sale, they're setting it up very much like you see here. So it's kind of like you living in your home while the estate sale's going on. And it's as if you have a blow-up bed that you're putting down the aisle. Imagine that in Walmart so that you can stay there in your home. It's just not conducive. And Tish is going to add, what else happens with the shoppers when you're there?
Living estates they're very difficult, just emotionally on the client and also for the customer, just because if someone's there, people feel guilty. I mean, when they're in your home buying their stuff, and we tell people they don't realize, because we did 2 living estate sales not long ago, and both of our clients had a really difficult time, because when you see prices on your pieces and they go out the door, it does react, and you may not think it will, but it does. It's very, very difficult. And then the customers, of course, feel guilty. I mean, they feel like they're in your home, kind of messing with your stuff. So it kind of creates a hard situation on both sides. And, we've had clients who, when they had the sale and they start seeing things going out their door, they're like, I just can't sell anymore. I can't do it. Well, you signed a contract. You have to do. I mean, we have to do that. If not, then we have to charge you commission on all those pieces that you want to keep. And once we come in and take possession of the house, anything that is taken out after that point is charged commission on. And that's kind of a benefit for kind of families and for that type of situation, because it is hard for people to kind of let their things go. And that's our job, is to do that for you. So you don't have to worry about the stress, and you don't have to worry about, and it's much easier to kind of go away, come back, and it's all done. And that makes everybody's, just makes it a lot easier situation than you sitting and having to kind of watch it all happen.
Right. Right. Well, and as she said, it does make it a lot easier because people are coming in and they're shopping just like you're doing when you're shopping. And the nice thing about Tish and her team is that once they're done with their sale, they go through as they're preparing, because oftentimes we're coming in right behind them to stage the house and get it ready to sell. They have gone through and broom swept it for us, washed off the counters so that we're ready with our next step, which typically for us, we bring in somebody that we like to call doing a make ready to get the house ready. But this is the other thing that Tish was talking about earlier, and I apologize that I didn't have this slide up for you. You were just going too fast.
Sorry.
Sometimes they find things in the house that maybe you didn't intend to sell, and they actually set it up so that there's a safe room so that those things are set aside for you and they're not sold. In the event, oftentimes they'll call you and say, did you mean to sell this? Or if they can't reach you, they're going to set these things aside so that they'll be there for you after the sale. The other benefit too, and this has been an experience that we've had with estate liquidators that we've worked with, oftentimes there may be people that are coming through the sale. It's usually family members that will come through and maybe unlock a window, and later on at the end of the day when the sale's not happening, that's when they come in and they may be taking some of those things that they really didn't want to go in the sale after all. So it's important what Tish mentioned to you earlier. When they come and do a consultation, which they don't charge you for, they're coming to look to see what you have. They're also doing a calculation in their mind of what do they have here to sell, and they're planning on those things being there for your sale, because the goal for everyone is for you to have a great sale. So you don't want to take anything out of there after you've promised it to the estate liquidator to sell for you. They look for hidden merchandise at the end of the day to make sure things have not been moved around. Oftentimes people see, as Tish said, the first day is the high price day, the second day may be the next reduction, and the third, the next reduction. Sometimes people that are really experienced at this may take something they really want and tuck it away behind something because they're going to come back on day 3 and get it for less. So are in this business know how to move things around and make sure that that's not going to be the case. I mentioned that they have security there, and they've set up the exit and the entrance to the house in a way that people don't get out without going by the cash register. That's not to say that it doesn't happen all the time, that it doesn't happen once in a while where somebody may end up with something small, but in most cases, no. So Tish talked about what happens afterwards. As we all know, we have wonderful things, and everybody is going to love every single thing that we have, and it's all going to sell. Not really. There's going to be things that are going to be left behind. And what we don't want is for you to have to worry about, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do with that? Who am I going to get to come haul it off? So there's several ways that you can do that. A buyout guy, a buyout company may come to get it. You have a haul off service. You can have somebody that you've paid to come in and clean it up or donate those things. Sometimes though, there's going to be a situation where you're not going to be able to have an estate sale. And for some of you, you may live in a homeowners association and they have restrictions. You can't have a garage sale unless everybody's having a garage sale. They've got a security gate and people can't come and go. In that case, there are other ways to have those types of sales. And Tish offers those as well as a couple of other people that we work with. There's online estate sale websites. There's online estate sale companies that are out there. And what they do, which is very similar to an estate sale in this way, is they come in, they have a look to see what you have. They take a picture of everything, they catalog everything, and they put it on their website, and it sells over a period of 2 weeks. So it starts out at the lowest price, and it ends up at the highest price. A little bit different than the traditional sales that start at the highest price and end up at the lower prices. But in this case, people are shopping across the country, and the buyers are the ones that are paying for shipping these things out. So, you know, this is what I just mentioned. So the auctions run about 7 to 14 days. Typically what happens is the day before the auction is over, the online auction or online estate sale is over, is some companies will allow people to come to look to see what they purchased. And then the next day, there's one pickup day where people come and they get their things. So they're not going through the house all at one time. They're coming on one day. This also works good for people that do need to stay in their home during the sale. Their things are being sold, but only having visitors one day. So Tish, you talked about a second chance sale. Do you have those very often?
A second, it's kind of a, you mean the second weekend? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Or second, yes. Most of the time it depends on the sale. I wish I could show you a picture of a sale I'm working on right now. So if it's a very, very large sale, then yes, we do. We ran several second weekends. We've kind of learned over the process of the years, though. We only usually do sale date, like 75% off on the second weekend, and run the first weekend. We go ahead and do the half, and then we just do the second weekend at 75% off to clear out the sale. But yes, we do. It just all depends on the size. And if it is a very, very large sale, like if we have, you know, a ranch and have a lot of farm equipment or that type of thing where we need a little more time for people to come out and take a look, where it really can't be done just in one weekend, then we'll do two weekends. But most of the time we sell out pretty well. And like I said, for some reason, if for that weekend it didn't do well, if the weather was bad, or like we had a sale a couple of weeks ago, there was construction down the street and people couldn't find us because the road was completely blocked off. And so we went ahead and added an extra day, and we did really well. So, because we were having, so, you know, it just kind of case by case.
So here's some of the places where they advertise. I know that Tish and her team advertise here as well as on their Facebook page, which has really been a big draw for people. Her website, her Facebook page is
Southern Revival Estate Sales.
Southern Revival Estate Sales.
Mm-hmm. And we have a PR firm that does all of our advertising. We have about 15,000 followers on estatesales.net. We have about 4,000 on our Facebook page. And then we have a huge email that we email out for people that sign up at our sales. And so we reach anywhere from 80 to 90,000 people usually for a sale. So we have a big range of what we reach. And we do have we have a ton of repeat customers. So we have a lot of vendors out of Dallas. We have people that kind of come from all over that come to our sales. So it's kind of all over the place.
That's great. And, you know, I want to just make sure, and we have Tish as a panelist for us today with Southern Revival, and she and her team do a really great job. And there are other companies out there that do equally as well. The point that we're trying to make today is that you want to work with someone that's well versed in estate sales like Tish is, so that you know who's going to be working with you and how your things are going to be merchandised, as well as what your return's going to be on that.
Ingrid?
So we're going to move forward
Ingrid?
now. We're coming to the end of our seminar today, pretty close. There's other things that you can do. Traditional auction houses, Heritage House would be one, where you might have some things that are very high end and you want to be able to take those things out to an auction. They're a lot of fun to go to as well. In this case, you deliver the things to the auction house, and if your things don't sell, you pick them up from the auction house. They, like the other people that we've been speaking with, they're very well versed in doing the research and grading the items and putting proper prices for people to get started on. They do put them on in a catalog, and they do encourage online bidders. You know, sellers typically pay a 10 to 15% fee when you're doing it at an auction house. They do have minimums, and you receive the settlement for the items that you're purchasing within 30 to 45 days. And for Tish, for you, when somebody's doing an estate sale with you, how long before they receive their funds?
Usually the week after. We send everything to our CPA, so it probably takes about, we say 10 to 14 days.
Okay, that's great. So, you know, as we kind of sum this up today, this particular seminar that we had, we were talking about dealing with your stuff. So we talked about sorting through your things. We've given you some ideas on how to make decisions about what's going to go and what's not going to go. Maybe picking a room in your home that you can take things to as you're trying to sort through and make decisions. We've talked about if you're making a move to another location, getting yourself a floor plan, whether it be a new home or an apartment, get yourself a floor plan so that your organizer can help you make decisions about what to take. We've talked about the benefits of having a professional mover help you so that you can get things packed and they can leave your home and go to the new place in the same condition that they left them. What's important to keep in mind here, as you're making those moves and you're working with estate liquidators as well, is to really have thought through that process so that you know what you're willing to let go of. You know, we spent a lot of time talking here with Tish and her team on how they go through and look at your things, keeping in mind not getting your feelings hurt that things are not going to sell for the retail price that you bought them for 10, 15 years ago. But the goal there is to be able to have someone else love them like you did and be able to pay for them with a reasonable price. You want to start small as you start to begin this process. You want to set limits. You don't want to try to do all of this in one day. Keep the things that bring you joy. Keep that in mind. Marie Kondo's book, Bringing You Joy, is going to be important for you to keep in mind. Take your time when you do that. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Like I said, we have resources for people that like to come in and help organize. Remember, they don't have the attachment to things that you do, so they can help you move through those things. I'd like to take an opportunity today to thank our sponsors. The seminar series that we have, the Smart Senior Seminar Series, would not be possible for us to get the word out to all of the different individuals that join us on our seminars. I want to take the time to thank them. Thanking the Viridian Elements here in Arlington. It's a beautiful multi-generational community, and the Elements is the new addition to that, which is the 55+ homes. We have Brookdale Senior Living, Broadway, Brookdale City View. They are in Fort Worth. They have a beautiful, beautiful community. You want to take the time to have a look at that. We do have a recorded interview with Debbie Collins from Brookdale Senior Living, Broadway City View. She can talk to you about their communities. We have Davidson Law Group that is wonderful to work with. They help us through all the important documents that are necessary for our clients. Old Republic Title has been a great resource for us because they are the ones that process our closings and help you make that closing smooth. And then we also have Mutual of Omaha. David Leslie is with them, and he helps with the home equity conversion mortgage. He's a very knowledgeable person. And Dignity Memorial. And I think we might have some of our sponsors on with us today. Debbie, who's with us?
Bertha is with us from Dignity. Bertha, do you want to unmute and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Bertha, and I hold a license with the state of Texas, and I pre-plan funerals, cremation, and cemetery property. I would love the opportunity to speak with you about that. We can do it in a couple different ways. I have the access of doing it virtual through WebEx, or we can meet at one of our 33 locations in the DFW area or at your home. So please reach out, even if you've already pre-planned. Sometimes it's good to have someone just look over everything over to make sure everything is just the way you want it to be. So again, my name is Bertha, and let me plan your service with dignity. Thank you.
Thank you, Bertha. We appreciate you. Do we have any other sponsors with us today?
Well, we have Dana.
Dana's with us. Dana Taylor, where are you? Tell us a little bit more, one more time about your business.
Well, we are a small family-owned and operated business. We do packing and moving. We're an all-female packing company, and we've been in business for 21 years.
That's great. And they do an excellent job. They have rave reviews. All right.
I think those are all of the sponsors that are on with us right now.
Okay, well, so let's go ahead and do a little round of questions. Keep in mind, we're getting ready to do our drawing. So hang in there with us for a couple minutes. Debbie, do we have any questions today?
We just have one, I think. Linda wanted to know how the business is at estate sales right now with COVID. Are they getting the crowds, and how are the sales going?
Tish, do you want to take that question?
We have been, yes, very busy. All of our sales have been very successful. When we first started back, we did the 25%. And of course, we have hand sanitizer. We wipe everything down. We do have masks available if people need masks or gloves. But it's been great. I mean, we're not doing the 25% anymore. But all the sales have done really, really well. I think everyone's ready to get out and about a little bit. So they've done really well.
Okay. Right, so that concludes our drawings. Let me just have you take a quick look because we've had a change in our schedule and we want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. We are going to skip the month of October, but we will be having November and December, and the next seminar that we'll do will be kind of a wrap-up, if you will, on just all of the different seminars that we've had. We call it Be Smart About Right Sizing. And then the very last one that we're going to do to end this year with is Be Smart About Leaving a Legacy. And we want to talk about the importance of leaving a legacy for your loved ones and how you go about doing that. So that will be December 10th. And the Be Smart About Right Sizing is going to be November 12th. Oh my goodness, Johnny, that's on your birthday. That's my husband's birthday. So November 12th, we'll be singing to you while we're talking about being smart about right sizing.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Okay. So, in finalizing here, I'm Ingrid Sullivan with the Sullivan Real Estate team and the owners of Senior Downsizing Experts. And I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day and sharing this time with us. We always want to make sure that we're giving you good information that you can take away and use. And if there's other things that you feel like, gosh, I wish they'd talk about this, or I would love to hear some more information, or I'd love for them to get somebody that can come in and talk about that, please share that with us, because we want to always have good content for you. Debbie will be taking this recording that we did today and preparing that, and it'll be on our smartseniorseries.com website for you to go back and look at later. Thanks so much for coming today.